So, Mark, did you see the lady in the scooter out on Las Vegas Boulevard? She showed up a little early to the F1 race.
Yeah, I don't I don't know if this is the best idea here. It sounds like Chris had asked her if she needed help or anything, but she was like, "No, I'm all good. I'm here to win."
Better than the roving scooter gangs of a few years ago.
Do you think she has like that NOS button, kick some nitrous boost in there?
Of course, it's Las Vegas, baby. So a few months ago, we talked about the replacement for Picasso at Bellagio, some of the rumors that were happening. This is one of the most iconic spots in all of Las Vegas for a restaurant, and we now know what is going to replace it, and it is called Carbone Riviera. So this will be the first sort of seafood restaurant from Carbone, another version of the popular restaurant that's at Aria in New York City, elsewhere. And the big surprise of all of this is that yacht that they're building right on the lake at Bellagio. You'll be able to ride around on a wooden yacht, just like you're on Lake Como.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing of all this. I'm very excited for that. Probably something they should have done a while ago, and I think it'll be a really unique experience and something very cool. Hopefully it's not too expensive so I can try it out or whatever, but I think that would give you a unique perspective to the fountains and kind of something that you wouldn't think that you would ever get to do up until now. But I'm most surprised that they're saying it's going to be 16 million, or that's the rumor. 16 million to refurbish. It's already a restaurant, so you don't have to put in all the kitchen stuff. That seems like a crazy amount of money. It just shows you how much these restaurants are making, I guess, because I would think that would take a long time to make back at a restaurant.
Well, I think maybe a lot of that has to do with the yacht. It's built by Riva Yacht, an 183-year-old Italian shipbuilder. It's one of 18 of this collection of yachts, so it's like super rare and limited edition. So I wonder if that's being factored in.
I guess it depends how big is this yacht. I don't know that they're going to have like a 40-footer out there on Bellagio fountain, so I wouldn't think it would be all that much, but yeah, this could be like an investment, but wear and tear and all that, but it should retain some of its value, if not grow in value over time. But I don't know. I don't think it's included. I think this is just the restaurant refurbish. That's my guess.
The yacht is 33 feet long, so not too small, not too big. And they are
expanding. It's too big. It's a fountain.
They're building a terrace. They're expanding the terrace outside, building a boat dock. The crowning signature of this restaurant, we don't know a lot about what it's going to look like or anything, is that there will be a seafood tower when you enter with all the fresh seafood there. Kind of like Milosh maybe over at Venetian. But yeah, this will be popular, no doubt.
I mean, great views. It's going to have a cool thing that nobody else has, a 33-foot yacht, which is still blowing my mind right now. It was an epic restaurant before. It's going to be even better, I would assume, after they spend all that money refurbishing it and bringing it up to, what we expect in 2025, 2026. So I'll be excited to see what the finished product looks like.
So let's move on to some nostalgia. Sometimes you see a picture, and you're the one who shared this picture for the show, but sometimes you see a picture and you can just go right into it and remember your own life and being in that place and time. And I present you Wet and Wild in its heyday, still a dirt lot.
I love like one of the comments, like I can smell the Marlboro Reds and what's the banana boat cream or suntan lotion or whatever was popular back then. That had me cracking up.
They used to have banana boat sponsored like bikini competitions out at Wet and Wild, so it was a big sponsor there, and
totally a family friendly thing. Awesome.
It's Vegas. What do you expect? But yeah, it was a great place, and it's very old school water park. Let's just build it again.
I mean, Vegas needs it. We always talk about the shortage of water and all that, so that wouldn't help at all. But Vegas does need a water park. I know a lot of people mentioned that on the last video for Prim. They could build a water park out there, open up the Buffalo Bill rides, and that would be an attraction or some reason to draw people out there. I think somebody needs to do it. That real estate is probably too valuable right there on the Strip, but we need something Strip adjacent that a lot of tourists can go to.
The Strip definitely needs a water park more than we need 3 NBA arenas. So we'll see how it all develops. So I came across this video on X, and it's talking about the haunted Luxor ride. And I'm pretty sure that this is just clickbait. And the Luxor ride, we've talked about it before. Back when Luxor opened, the Nile River ran through the casino. More nostalgia on this show. I love it. And you could check in at the front desk and take the boat ride to one of the elevators and get off. And it was a very fun sort of thing that didn't last very long, wasn't very practical. But this video is claiming it was haunted and that there was ghosts seen in there and all of that. I've never heard anything like this.
You think there'd still be hauntings then, because you step over the the river still in weird parts when you're like, why is there a staircase up and then down right here? That's why. So you would think there'd still be hauntings going on, or somebody would notice something if that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, most of where all that ride was is still there. It's just covered up. So I don't know. It's interesting. Just take an old ride, an old anything. Maybe we should just put a little tint on the Wet and Wild photo. We'll call it Haunted Wet and Wild.
I mean, it's haunted for people building an NBA arena there for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely got some sort of curse on it, doesn't it? Speaking of amusements, Circus Circus is offering 50% off through August 10th, and you have to go in person. So remember, we talked about a couple weeks ago, they have a deal where one adult can buy a wristband and you can get 4 free junior wristbands for people under 48 inches. Well, this opens up a deal to everybody else, 50% off. So that's a pretty good deal. It's around $30 for an all-day wristband, living it up, riding the rides. Doesn't include SpongeBob, though, because that's not part of the Adventure Dome.
I'm glad they realized that their last policy and deal was sexist, and this has opened everybody.
So some people say that little girls grow faster than little boys, Mark. So they said that it's sexist in the opposite direction.
Hey, that could be the case. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to look at my daughter and son's things on the wall in the other room and see at the same age how that works out, but that could be true. No, I think this is a really good deal, and this is what we've been begging Vegas for, and we've last several shows is just amazing deals. The Cirque deal, this one, I know we're going to talk about one later on Groupon. So this is what people were begging for, so make sure you go out there and support it if you're in Vegas. And I think this is a really good attraction, and I've always had fun at Circus Circus going through the Adventure Dome, so hopefully people take advantage.
Wait, there's more from Circus Circus, more deals happening from noon till 3 o'clock. The Carnival Midway will have 50% off games as part of a summer promotion as well. So not only the Adventure Dome, but the games, the world famous games at Circus Circus. That's exciting and more nostalgia. I mean, I basically grew up at that place.
I know it's the worst though when you win something when you're traveling and then you're like, how the hell am I going to get this big stuffed dog home?
I thought the worst thing was when my daughter doesn't win and she cries. I think that's the worst part.
It's worse when you win. I've walked around and just handed out stuff at, amusement parks and like, here, do you want a basketball? Do you live around here? Here, take this. I can't get this home.
We learned on our last trip to Circus Circus to play one of the guaranteed win games first, so she would win something, so then she wouldn't be upset, because she doesn't need a million things, so she got one little stuffed animal, she's happy, then she could play everything else and doesn't really care. But yeah, good times at Circus Circus, 50% off. I don't know that we've ever seen that before. So we've talked about Aviators merch quite a bit on this show, which is a little weird for a AAA team, but they level up with merch, do a great job of not only their temporary team names like the Gamblers, but also their Aviators team merch. And Belly Busters, remember that, Mark? That was the one from last year. Well, they just came out with a new hat, the Nevada flag cap, and I think this looks amazing. And then going through their site, they have so many caps, Mark, so many designs. It's almost insane. And they still have Gamblers on sale. They says low stock, and there's plenty of the Belly Busters merch available.
Shocker. That's such a hideous design. I don't know who put that together and thought it would sell. I'm not shocked that there's a stock of it. I've loved all their other designs. The Gambler design's cool. This one's really, really cool. I did scroll through the site, and there's a lot of really unique hats, and you wouldn't even know that it's for a baseball team. It just looks like it's from Las Vegas or something like that. So if you love Las Vegas, this is a spot to definitely pick out a hat, and this new one is really cool.
Can we talk about the prices though, Mark? You're a hat expert. You wear a hat on every show. When did hats become $40?
A long time ago.
That sucks. I wanted this hat and then I saw the price. I'm like, I don't know. It looks very high quality though.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of hat. You can get them on sale for like $25-$30, but usually if it's a fitted hat, you're going to be in the $40 range, somewhere in there. $35 to $45 is pretty standard.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. A lot of fun behind the channel. Going to talk about how I was almost a bellman at MGM Grand on this week's show. Tons of great stuff. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to everyone who supports us over there. So this is our monthly shout out to the social media team at Four Queens and Binions. Never change, never change, never change. I love your artistic style. I love your design. I think Vital Vegas was making fun of them this week, saying they should be using AI. They should not. MS Paint works perfectly for you. And I just wanted to point it out with their newest promotion where you can earn stuff. They really are leaning into the no resort fees, but I just love the font. And they even put the font on the free towel.
I love the picture of the towel on the old lawn chair next to the Holiday Inn level pool that is not welcoming or inviting at all. Like, you should have just taken a picture of the towel and called it a day.
But can you imagine using that towel when you get out of your state-of-the-art future shower suite once they open up their new rooms at Four Queens?
Oh, I can't wait. You got to go stay there when they open that. You have to go and like film the shower and just see like how it all works.
But on a serious note, they're doing something that looks different, it feels different, and it gets attention. And I think that they're successful in that. That's why we actually highlight it. I think it's great. And they're going to keep beating it from the rooftops. No resort fees ever.
And they're saying their program's the most rewarding round. I don't know if that's true. I've never really gambled there, but that's something to look at too. And we complain how comps and free play and everything's been rolled back, so maybe you can get a little more action there if you're a local or you find yourself downtown quite a bit. Yeah, I think it's a fun property. I mean, social media, it's kind of like old school, but it works. It's got a niche.
So let's talk about the deal you mentioned earlier on Groupon, the Go City Pass. And this is $138.60 for 2 days, up to $300-ish for 4 days. Now, usually you can use coupons on Groupon to get that down even more. And then there's portals, shopping portals you can use to get cash back that would bring it down even more lower than that. And these exist in many cities. I've used similar versions in different cities all around the world, but haven't used this one. But it has a very extensive list of attractions. And I actually think Vegas is not a bad idea for something like this because there's so many attractions close together that you could do a lot. In some cities, it's really hard to do more than 1 or 2 things a day, but I think you can knock a lot of these things off in a couple days.
Yeah, and our buddy Ryan sent this to me, and I thought it was a pretty decent deal to highlight. And like you said, you can hit, and a lot of these are like 20, 25 bucks a piece. And maybe you're like, oh, 20, 25, it's not really worth it. If it was like 10 or 15, it's worth it. And if you're doing a couple days, you could probably hit enough to bring that price down. And like you said, they often have sales where you can get 20, 25% off on Groupon. And then with the shopping portal, you can get another 10% back on top of that. So we can drop this down to well below $100 if you play it right and time it. And that's a really good deal. If you go to 4 or 5 of these in 2 days, I think you're getting your money's worth. And some of them are more expensive than others. But it opens up these little ones like Titanic and Bodies. How long it's been there since I first started going to Vegas, and you thought it was supposed to be a limited time thing, but it's still happening in places. And maybe you don't want to pay full freight for that, but if you're getting it as a part of this, yeah, why wouldn't you check it out?
Yeah, there's some other cool stuff like a go-car tour of the Las Vegas Strip. I think the Link zip lines on there, High Roller, the Eiffel Tower, the Strat, Flyover, Madame Tussauds. Yeah, so there's just a lot of stuff that I feel like you could knock out. And Groupon, pretty good. We haven't bought anything on there in a while, but always nice. And like I said, make sure to look for coupons. Make sure to use a shopping portal to bring your price down. So this caught my eye this week from Durango, from Nicco's over at Durango, and this is their 18-layer chocolate cake. And I'm impressed with the price. I'm just going to start with the price. $12 for some reason in 2025 impressed me for this
insane
slice of cake. But I love how they put together the video showing how they make it, how each layer is done. And I'm not a huge chocolate cake guy, but this looks delicious.
Yeah, I would say $12 is like a third. A piece of chocolate cake that's like a third that size would be $12. So I showed it to my daughter, who's our resident cake eater. That's like an 80s term. That's not a negative connotation. So I showed her, and she's like, and I was like, it's only $12. She said, what? I want to go right now. So it looks amazing. I thought the process was really cool to see, and I don't know how they make money off of it. They must not, because that seems like a lot of effort to just charge for $12. And they cut the piece, and maybe it's a little bit thinner when you get it in the restaurant, but it looked like it was like a quarter of the cake, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty big. I don't know if it was quite a quarter of the cake, but it was pretty big. And I don't think that if you ordered this for $12, you would ever think they didn't give you enough. And when you have that many layers, you have all, look at us trying to be food commentators, but you have all of the chocolate goodness in every layer. So I don't know. It looks good. Have you been to Nicco's at Durango? Let us know down in the comments. So the reason I'm going to tell my Bellman story on the after show is because of this story happening. MGM more. No, MGM, more robots. And so it looks like Bellman are the next target of the automation. As Vital Vegas shared this, but again, I think it came from a Facebook group, and these new kiosks for bags over at Mandalay Bay that they're testing out. So we saw them remove Bellman from places like Excalibur already, and maybe we're going to automate that service at other hotels.
Well, I'm questioning that because a couple of comments down there said they have used it and it was just like a way to get your ticket or be in the system. The bellman still grabbed your bags, and maybe eventually they're going to go to robots or however it be. As it is now, they made it seem like that's just a way, instead of getting a written ticket and having to keep it in your wallet or purse and track it. I think that's a great improvement if that is the case, but hopefully it doesn't end up taking jobs. But I figure we're going to be something like where they just have lockers, kind of like, we talk about Resorts World. Whatever happened with the Hub lockers? Do they still do that? But they should just have like big lockers, kind of like at a bus station or at an amusement park, and you just throw your luggage in there, self-service. I think that would be really easy fix, and people would prefer it than having to deal with people and all that stuff. That doesn't help with jobs, but I don't know why nobody's gone to that.
Yeah, it makes a good point. I don't know that there's robots to bring your bags either back and forth. I mean, I'd love to see an Optimus robot dragging your bags, pushing a bell cart, or one of those Amazon automated robots from their factories whisking away luggage to the right room. Maybe that is the future, but that's probably a far way off. And who knows, like with a system like this, maybe there's less mistakes happening than handwritten tickets. And this is essentially what they use for airlines.
Yeah, I think this is a good case. And then when you have the technology, maybe you have pictures of the suitcases, because we've heard of people getting the wrong luggage or people finding a ticket and claiming it and things like that, that there's just not as verified as you would like maybe. So this could be improvements in those areas.
We've talked on the last couple of shows about the changes in the tax law regarding gambling, and I linked to some resources so people can read up on it. But basically, gamblers are no longer, as of next year, allowed to deduct 100% of their losses, only 90%. And there's a lot of cases where this won't matter to people, and there's a lot of cases where this could hurt, especially bigger gamblers with smaller margins. And a lot of people are upset. A lot of Congress people are upset as this got snuck in there at the last minute. And Dina Titus, who has been a champion, I think, of the raising the handpay threshold, she's introduced that a few times in Congress, never went anywhere, but she has sponsored the Fair Bet Act, which would roll back those changes. So if this could get passed, then the changes would not go into effect. Derek Stevens, to his credit, he's been all over social media saying to Dina Titus, do this, get rid of the 0.25% excise tax on sports bets, and then raise the hand pay threshold. I'm going to guess none of those things are going to happen.
I think it's got to get rolled back, or maybe it would probably take a couple years, but I think eventually it gets there, and maybe not. I think this one was to 99%, so not the full 100 for 100. But that would be a great, vast improvement compared to what we're at right now. So I could see it down the line. I don't think it will happen immediately or this quickly. That just isn't the way government works. But I could see this getting through at some point if there's enough pushback, and if we see the casinos notice a dip and they get their lobbyists working, I could see it happening.
I think Derek Stevens' idea is a good one. Why don't we put this other stuff? The excise tax, you could debate that all day, but raising the handpay threshold, why not put it in this bill so that it has a chance of getting passed and gets changes? I mean, it's been in place since 76, 78, something like that number. So obviously inflation, insane. It should be $5,000 or $6,000 now. And in the world of bigger bets all the time on slots, I mean, people are hitting this all the time. And then now they're hitting these W2Gs, and now you're forcing them to pay taxes. And I guess the argument against all of it is you should always report all your wins and losses, Mark.
Yeah, and this is going to drive people to report less, I think, and they're not going to report all their wins. This is going to have the adverse effect of what they were hoping it would, or they'll start gambling illegally offshore, things like that they don't have to worry about it. I know a lot of people in the comments said in Canada they don't tax you for it, so maybe they go start gambling in Canada or whatever. There's definitely going to be negative things that happen because of this bill. So hopefully they can figure out a way to lessen that blow a bit, and we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The offshores casinos, that's a interesting point as well. Less safety, and this will drive people there. And speaking of that, I saw some post on social media about a video. I didn't watch the video, but it's the 10 best online casinos to use credit cards at. And I just wanted to tell everybody out there, don't use credit cards at online casinos. If you don't have the money, then don't gamble, especially at online casinos. Any casino that allows you to use a credit card is going to be overseas, unregulated, and not a good idea.
Yeah, and there's usually big fees for it too. You're looking at like a 5% fee, something like that. And it can get your credit card account shut down, because if the banks figure out what you're doing, they're not going to be happy either. So it's just a whole bunch of bad things rolled into one.
Yeah, so gamble responsibly. Hopefully they'll roll this all back. Hopefully they'll change the hand pay threshold. We would all Love that. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Nostalgia, the Fair Bet Act, Wet and Wild, Four Queens and Binions, their social media team hitting it out of the park again. All of the stuff we discussed on the show. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
You know who loves the new bill? Bookies. have a good weekend, everybody.
I thought it was going to be Chris Angel for some reason.
No.